I hurriedly returned home as my business trip got cancelled. When I opened the front door in the late afternoon, there were my husband's work shoes there for some reason. Moreover, there were women's shoes next to them that I didn't recognize. Suppressing any noise, I closed the front door and headed towards the back of the house, suspecting the worst. The ominous premonition proved true as I heard the voices of a man and a woman from the bedroom. With my heart pounding, I held my smartphone ready and gently opened the bedroom door. There, the worst scene unfolded before me. My husband was in the midst of enjoying himself with his affair partner. When I saw the other woman, my legs felt weak. After all, my husband's affair partner turned out to be my brother's wife. As the act concluded, the two lay side by side, embracing each other and starting a conversation. "You are truly the best. Much better than that guy."
"You are too. You looked incredibly cute today."
"Your wife doesn't know, does she? If she finds out, you will be in big trouble."
"She is too slow to notice. It's okay.
As I recorded the video, I felt a trembling sensation in the back of my throat. What are they doing to me? I won't forgive them. I will show them hell. After all this, my foolish husband and sister-in-law will cry and scream in despair. My name is Monica, and I'm a 30-year-old housewife. My family consists of my father, who is a teacher, my mother, and my elder brother Edward, who is 3 years older. My brother has always been my source of pride, excelling in both academics and sports since we were kids. He always gets top grades in school and is a regular in football, which he has learned since he was a child. I was always attached to my older brother, who was dependable and kind, and I would always go around saying, "Edward, Edward." On the other hand, I was just an average girl in terms of grace and appearance. However, my brother cherished me, always taking care of me. This was back in my childhood. I was targeted by the local troublemakers, teased, and had my belongings destroyed. At first, I endured it alone, but unable to bear it any longer, I consulted my brother. My brother, furious, confronted the troublemakers alone and gave them a good beating. The troublemakers brought by my brother had tears in their eyes and apologized to me. Since then, I was no longer targeted, and I gained a peaceful life. From that time, my brother became my hero. As my brother grew up, he entered a top-tier university, and 3 years later, I went to university. There, I was able to make many friends. One of my close friends especially was Lee. I met Lee, who had a friendly and cute appearance, in the same circle, and we became good friends. Even after graduating from university, we often went out for meals, sharing updates and discussing our respective love lives. At that time, I was in my second year at an advertising company. On the other hand, Lee had resigned from her full-time job and was working as a temp. During that period, I had broken up with my then boyfriend about half a year ago. "Monica, haven't you been in love lately?" Upon Lee's question, I slightly tilted my head. It's been only half a year since I broke up with my ex-boyfriend, so for now, I will focus on my work. After saying that, Lee frowned. "No way! We are still young, so we should be actively dating. How about I introduce you to a friend from my high school days? He's a great guy." "Huh? If you say so." This is how I was introduced to Aaron, who would later become my husband. He was a salesman for a small business and was tall and handsome. The moment I saw him, I thought he was great. Aaron is very kind, and I think he's perfect for you, Monica. Why don't we exchange contact information? With Lee's encouragement, we exchanged contact information. Then, the two of us started going out to eat together. Aaron seems to like me and asked me to go out with him, which I gladly accepted, and we began dating. It must have been about 6 months after I started dating Aaron. Lee had invited me to dinner. Listen, Monica, I was stumped by him. Lee had a boyfriend since university, and she revealed that they had broken up. I tried to comfort her. Lee, you will find someone new quickly. Cheer up. I'm already 25. I want to marry the next person I date. I want someone kind, cool, with a good income. At that moment, I thought of my brother. He worked for a major IT company back then, and his income was quite good. If I remembered correctly, he didn't have a girlfriend. Lee had introduced me to Aaron, so I felt indebted to her. So I suggested to her, if you want, how about meeting my brother? Huh? Your brother? When I showed her a photo of my brother on my phone, Lee's face lit up. No way! Your brother is so cool, and he works for Microsoft? If such a person was available, you should have introduced him earlier. Wait a minute. Didn't you have a boyfriend until recently? I couldn't help but chuckle. Still, since Lee was enthusiastic, I decided to introduce her to my brother. On another day, I called my brother and introduced him to Lee. Lee then launched a vigorous attack on my brother. My brother didn't seem to mind Lee's cute and earnest efforts. After a while, they both reported that they had started dating. I genuinely felt happy for them. About 2 years later, during a meal with Lee, she told me this. Hey Monica, I've decided to marry Edward. Really? You finally made it to the goal. I can't believe you're going to be my sister-in-law. It's all thanks to you. Even after becoming relatives, let's get along well. You introduced me to Aaron. I'm glad we have such a connection. What about you and Aaron, Monica? Any plans for marriage? Actually, we've been talking about getting married soon. If you and my brother are getting married, we might consider it afterward. Huh? Really? So both of us will be getting married. Let's make speech at each other's weddings. Sounds good. Let's stay close as relatives after the weddings. Several months later, my brother and Lee got married as promised. I gave a speech at their wedding. Aaron also attended the ceremony as my fiancé, and we celebrated their new beginning together. 6 months after my brother and Lee's wedding, Aaron and I had our wedding. I have good memories of my brother crying at the wedding.
Aaron, I'm counting on you to take care of Monica. Of course, Edward. I will do my best as a brother from now on.
I watched the conversation between my brother and Aaron with a smile. Afterward, my brother and Lee started living in a high-rise apartment, and Aaron and I also rented an apartment to begin a new life. However, married life was far from what I had imagined. Aaron didn't do any housework.
Since we are married, housework is a wife's job, right?
He pushed everything onto me, and I reluctantly followed his lead, handling all the household chores. 1 year after our marriage, Aaron got into trouble with his boss and resigned from his job. Later, he found a new job through connections, and after the transfer, started coming home later and later. As he worked in sales, socializing was unavoidable, but our conversations dwindled. and he began to show a somewhat indifferent attitude. Every day, I met with a somewhat curt attitude. Then one day, I was scheduled to go on a business trip for a week for work. Aaron, I will be going on a 1-week business trip next week. I thought he would say something like,
Who's going to do the housework during that time?
But surprisingly, he seemed happy about it.
All right, take care and come back safely. No need for souvenirs.
Yes, thank you. And so, the following week, I boarded a plane and headed for my business trip. Because I efficiently handled my work at the business trip destination, I finished earlier than planned, allowing me to return home one day earlier. I hesitated to contact my husband, but decided to surprise him by returning home in the early afternoon. Thus, I reached home in the late afternoon without telling Aaron. Upon my arrival, I noticed my husband's work shoes at the entrance. He was supposed to be at work. Moreover, next to his shoes were unfamiliar women's shoes. I thought to myself that this couldn't be, so I quietly closed the entrance door without making any noise and headed towards the back of the house. My worst fears were confirmed when I heard voices of a man and a woman coming from the bedroom. Suppressing my pounding heart, I quietly opened the bedroom door, holding my smartphone. There, the worst scene unfolded before my eyes. They were in code in the act. I almost collapsed upon seeing the woman, realizing it was none other than my close friend Lee. I trembled as I captured the scene with shaky hands on my phone. As the act concluded, the two lay side by side on the bed and began a conversation while embracing each other. Aaron, you're truly amazing. Much better than that guy.
You were pretty amazing too. You looked really cute today.
Monica probably hasn't found out, right? It would be a big problem if she did.
She's clueless because she's dense. It's okay, it's okay.
I felt a shiver down my spine as I recorded the video. What are these guys doing to me? I will never forgive them. I will give them hell. I opened the bedroom door with a bang and rushed into the bedroom.
What? Monica, why? You were supposed to be on a business trip.
Aaron was surprised, hastily trying to cover his naked body. I glared at the two with bloodshot eyes. I finished my business trip early and came home to find, what the hell are you guys doing here? Well, looks like we got caught. It was Lee who said that. I turned to her. Lee, what the hell do you think you're doing? Fooling around with Aaron despite having my brother. Since when has this been going on? Since high school, but...
We couldn't resist each other after we got married.
Since high school? And yet, you introduced Aaron to me? Lee lifted the corner of her mouth. Yes, I never liked your stuck-up attitude from the beginning. That's why I gave you my leftovers. You should be grateful since you've been happy all along. No, it can't be true. I'm not lying. I hated you. This situation is excellent proof. I see. I understand. I took a deep breath and informed them. I've already sent the evidence video to my brother.
What?
In an instant, both of their faces turned pale. If my husband and my brother's wife had a relationship, it would undoubtedly cause a huge commotion. They started to panic.
What the hell are you doing? Don't tell my boss anything.
Exactly. Don't send the video to Edward. Yes, in fact, my brother had started a company and became its president before marrying Lee. My husband's new job was with my brother's company. I stood in their way as they tried to escape in their disheveled state. My brother will be here soon, so behave yourselves.
Hey, stop it! Get out of the way!
Move aside, you foolish woman! While we were grappling, the doorbell rang. My brother had arrived. Entering through the front door, he stood in the living room, contemplating something as he observed the frozen pair.
Now, where should we start? Is it true that you had a relationship with him?
No, it's a misunderstanding.
I have the video evidence that Monica sent to me, so there's no excuse. Now tell me the details of how it all happened.
Reluctantly, Lee turned pale and began to speak. She revealed that she and Aaron, though not dating during high school, had a physical relationship. After marriage, they coincidentally met outside, went for a meal, and ended up in a hotel that same day. She confessed to meeting secretly with Aaron behind my and my brother's backs. Hearing all this, my brother let out a deep sigh.
I understand the story. Lee, we are getting a divorce.
What? Are you serious? Listen, the one I truly love is you.
You only love my money, right?
He confronted Lee by presenting credit card statements.
After we got married, it was all about luxury, from brands to cosmetic treatments for you. I've closed my eyes to such things because you are my beloved wife. But I can't tolerate this anymore after being subjected to such actions. Our divorce is a done deal.
No way. Lee drooped her head, and next to her, a trembling Aaron called the attention of my brother.
Now, it's your turn. Stand up. Yes.
When my husband stood up, my brother grabbed his collar and delivered a clean jab. Unable to take a defensive stance, Aaron was slammed to the floor with a thud. He groaned, his mouth opening and closing as he looked at my brother.
This is for laying hands on my woman. And this is for hurting my sister.
My brother forced Aaron, who couldn't get up on his own, to stand and delivered another jab. Once again, Aaron was slammed to the floor, visibly struggling, his face turning bright red. I looked down at him with cold eyes.
I give up. Please spare me.
Upon hearing my husband's plea, my brother finally backed away.
I had received reports from your department head. He often complained that you were frequently absent during work hours. Yet, your sales performance was terrible. What? Our company's sales car was parked in front of this house. Most likely, you were meeting with Lee during work hours, right? The fact that you are at home during this time is evidence enough. That...
My husband's eyes starting to wander suddenly.
To engage in such behavior during working hours is something I, as a professional, cannot overlook. Despite your poor sales performance, I was willing to turn a blind eye because you are my cute sister's husband. However, if you're skipping work for an affair, that's a different story. I'm firing you. What? Fired? That's a problem, President!
My husband clung to my brother, but was easily shrugged off. Then, he staggered towards me, bowing deeply to apologize.
Monica, I'm truly sorry for what I have done. Look at me. I'm apologizing, so please forgive me. And then, maybe your brother will.
Stop kidding me. Before I knew it, I was raising my voice. I can't forgive you for cheating with my friend. We are getting a divorce too. Be prepared, because I'm going to demand alimony for both of you.
Divorce? Alimony?
To Lee and Aaron's astonishment, my brother told them this with a smile.
Of course. I will also demand compensation. I will go to court if I have to, but I will make sure to collect it.
Lee and Aaron went into a frenzy, crying and pleading. That's why my brother kicked them out of the house. Later on, divorces were finalized for both me and Aaron, as well as my brother and Lee. With the help of my brother's acquaintance, a lawyer, the divorces went smoothly. My brother and I each demanded $30,000 from our ex-spouses and their affair partners. They ended up paying $60,000 each in compensation, borrowing money to tearfully settle the debt. Lee, who used to be a housewife, was disowned by her family and had to resort to night work. Aaron, who got fired from my brother's company, spent his day's job hunting and worked a night job in cleaning to make ends meet. They lived together for a while, but constant fights eventually led to a breakup. There were times when they sought refuge with us, but my brother and I firmly turned them away, so I have no idea about their life afterward. One thing was certain: they were leading miserable lives. On the other hand, my brother and I had a meal together after the commotion settled down. I'm really sorry, Edward, for introducing her to you.
You're not to blame. We've both been through a lot this time.
My brother said this, patting my head like he used to do when we were younger. From now on, I want to work hard and watch over my precious brother until he finds true happiness. Of course, I will pursue my own happiness too.
The house is looking disastrous right now. Please tell her to hurry back and clean up. My mother-in-law came all the way to my parents' house just to tell me that. But then, my mom made an even more shocking statement. My daughter passed away yesterday. I'm Kat, a 27-year-old housewife. It's been a year since I married Wayne. We met at our mutual friend's house party. I wasn't good at meeting guys, so my sweet friend set it up for me. That's where I met him.
Hi, can I join you?
Oh, sure. It was a couple of hours into the party when he suddenly popped up. We talked about a lot of things, and he asked me many questions, which made it easy for me to keep the conversation flowing. We were glued in our seats, talking until the wee hours, and I was hoping I would see him again. Luckily, he felt the same way, and we exchanged our numbers at the end of the night. From then on, we messaged each other every day and started casually dating. As we got to know each other better, he asked me to be his girlfriend. We kept our relationship fun and loving without any major quarrels.
Your cooking is amazing. I'm impressed by the taste.
Really? I'm so happy to hear that. I'll make you more. Whenever he came over, I often cooked for him. Seeing him enjoy my food delighted me. If we got married, I thought I'd be cooking like that for him every day. I couldn't help but smile at the thought. I did hope to marry him someday. Then, about a year into our relationship, he popped the question.
Will you keep making delicious meals for me? Marry me.
I was totally caught off guard by how quickly it happened, but I was ecstatic. Yes, I love you so much. Hence, the wedding preparation began. We quickly informed our parents and had the customary meet and greet. Then we tied the knot in a beautiful ceremony. Many friends and co-workers blessed us at our wedding, and I felt an overwhelming sense of happiness. We had been living separately up to that point and finally moved in together. Wayne wanted me to focus on being a homemaker, so I quit my job to become a full-time housewife. I did my best to provide a comfortable home for him by expanding my cooking skills and keeping the house squeaky clean. However, there was one thing that grabbed my attention about Wayne after living together. He was way messier than I imagined. First off, he always left his clothes lying around. It was a common sight to see his socks or t-shirts scattered on the living room floor after he had taken them off. And after eating, he didn't bother to take his own dishes away, but went straight to the sofa to lie down. I understood that it was my job to do the chores as a housewife, but I wished he'd be a bit more mindful about how he lived. Another surprise was that he couldn't do his tie by himself, and I had to help him. How did you manage before?
Mom used to do it for me.
Seriously?
By the way, she used to iron my shirts every day. Can't you do it too?
Okay, I'll iron them.
Don't mess it up, okay?
He deliberately sighed, tinged with a touch of irritation. His attitude disturbed me. He was sincere and kind before we got married, but something changed since then. He became colder towards me and acted more like a domineering husband, always nitpicking about what I did.
Hey, why are we having fish today?
It's nutritious, and we had meat yesterday, so I thought fish would be good for today.
Are you kidding me? You know I like red meat, right? I don't want to eat fish.
But he often expressed his selfish desires.
Hey, my shoes aren't polished enough. Make sure the beer is ice cold. Don't serve all the dishes at once. It's overwhelming, you know? Serve them like a course, one by one.
Honestly, his demands were tedious, and it was getting on my nerves. Whenever I couldn't meet his standard, he'd blame me, saying,
Mom always did it perfectly.
Apparently, he was overly pampered and catered to by her for everything. I resented her for spoiling him so much. A few months into our marriage, we went over to his parents' house for the first time, and I witnessed a surprising scene. Welcome back, my dear. So good to see you.
Hey, Mom. Glad to be back.
Carrying such heavy stuff. Poor thing. Give it to me. I'll take care of it.
Thanks, Mom.
I'm baking your favorite cake, so let's have it together.
Oh, sounds good. I'd love some coffee made by you too.
Of course, dear. Come, have a seat on the sofa.
Miranda was only talking to Wayne nonstop, completely ignoring me like I wasn't even there. Larry, my father-in-law, greeted me and we engaged in a conversation, but Miranda was stuck to Wayne the whole time.
Sorry about that, Kat. Miranda tends to be overprotective, and I've always tried to caution her, but she never listens. She's been like that forever. Wayne, well, he's overly dependent too, and I'm ashamed of it. I hope he's not causing trouble at home.
Well...
Oh, I guess he is, huh? I'm really sorry. I'll make sure to talk to him about it.
Oh, that'd be great. Thank you. I was relieved to know he had a better sense than the other two. If he had been as troubling as Miranda, I wouldn't have been able to handle it. Still, I was quite flabbergasted by how she treated Wayne. If she raised him that way, no wonder he turned out selfish and unable to do anything on his own. Maybe the issue was his environment, and I thought I may have been able to correct him. So I gathered up the courage and decided to point out his bad habits. Honey, leaving your stuff scattered everywhere like this isn't cool. I have to pick them up and put them in the laundry basket, you know? If you could do that yourself, the house would look a lot neater.
Why do I have to do such a hassle?
Maybe because you think it's a hassle, that's why you don't do it. By any chance, is your desk at work messy too? People around you might find it appalling and think you're incapable.
What? I'm fine at the office.
That might just be your perception. Habits at home definitely spill over to work.
Ugh, fine.
After I pressed him, he finally made some effort. The tactic appeared effective with him, so when I asked him to take his place to the kitchen, I mentioned it was to prevent any embarrassment for him at work. I was able to manipulate him, but sadly it didn't last long. One day, while I was relaxing at home, the doorbell rang. I was surprised to see Miranda standing at the front door. Oh, Miranda, is everything all right?
Let me in.
She just marched in without waiting for an answer. What's the matter?
You should offer some drinks first, don't you think? You're inconsiderate.
Oh, sorry. She showed up unannounced and ordered me around. I asked her what she'd like and served her the drink. While she drank it, she glared at me.
What's your problem?
Excuse me?
I hear you're saying terrible things to Wayne regularly. That he's incapable at work and that people around him must be contemptuous.
Oh, that's...
He's exceptionally bright. No doubt everyone around respects him. How could a wife speak so horribly to her own husband?
It seemed like he only conveyed the hurtful words to his mother, twisting the facts, and she just took whatever he said at face value and blamed me. I was exasperated. The situation had become quite a mess.
He's special, you know. So it's only natural for everyone to take care of him apart from work. Why can't you understand that?
I was speechless. Having such distorted affection, she wasn't just overprotective. It went beyond that, and it gave me the creeps. Then she made an unbelievable statement.
Since you seem incompetent as a housewife, I'll come over to guide you.
Huh?
How's that? Isn't it great?
No. That's, it's okay.
What? Did you just say no? You seem to be severely disillusioned. You don't even realize that you're incompetent. I feel for Wayne for getting such a useless wife. Brace yourself. I'll whip you into shape.
She was getting worked up all by herself. It was definitely going the wrong way. At that time, it seemed she had only come to tell me all that and left once she was done. That night, I confronted Wayne. Hey, why did you tell your mom things that aren't true?
Huh? Things that aren't true? I told her exactly what happened. The fact that you hurt me is real.
But I just wanted you to change.
You just have to do the housework better. I heard she's coming over every day from now on. You better learn well from her. Don't you dare be rude, okay?
He was completely on her side. Just as she doted on him, he also seemed to dote on her like a mama's boy. She started coming over the next day, just as she said.
What's with all this dust? You haven't cleaned at all. This tastes terrible, so pathetic. That's why you're a useless wife. I wish Wayne would throw you out.
I wondered why I had to be belittled like that. Her daily visits were becoming a significant source of my stress. As time went on, my health deteriorated, and I decided to get checked up one day. To my astonishment, I found out that I was pregnant. Although it was unexpected, I felt joy knowing that my child was on the way. I immediately informed Wayne.
Pregnant?
Yeah, we're having a baby.
Oh yeah? Well, keep doing your chores properly like before.
Huh? I was puzzled by his reaction. He didn't sound happy about it at all. I told Miranda as well, but she reacted similarly to him.
Don't slack off on the housework just because you have morning sickness and inconvenience Wayne.
What? I was stunned and questioned their mindset. I felt it wouldn't be good for my mental health to be around them any longer. I was sure Miranda would keep harassing me, and Wayne would keep acting selfishly. It would not only affect me, but also the baby. So when Wayne went to work, and just before Miranda arrived, I quickly packed my bags and went to my parents' home. They were surprised when I suddenly showed up. When I explained the situation, they sympathized and were furious at the two. They said I could stay as long as I wanted due to the circumstances of my pregnancy. I took their words and resolved to stay for a while. As expected, Wayne called me non-stop.
Hey, why aren't you home? Where are you?
I'm at my parents' house.
What are you doing there? Are you insane to skip your duty for that?
I'm here to protect myself and the baby. If I stayed with you and your mom, I would definitely have a breakdown. So I'm not coming back.
Cut it out. Do you think you can do whatever you want? Come back now.
No way. I don't want to talk anymore, so I'm hanging up.
Hey.
I hung up and then blocked his number. I didn't want to deal with any more trouble from him. At that moment, I made up my mind to divorce him and raise my child alone. My parents agreed that it was for the better. For a while, I didn't receive any emails or visits from Wayne. I figured he was scared to face my parents. Miranda didn't have my number, so she couldn't reach me. I managed to stay away from them for a whole month, allowing myself to mentally recover. However, Miranda must have had enough of me being away for that long. She came to see me unannounced. As I let out a sigh of annoyance and was about to open the door, my mom told me to stay in my room. Then she opened the door and began dealing with Miranda. "It's been a long time. What can I do for you today?" Miranda widened her eyes and shouted,
Bring out your daughter. Her house is looking disastrous now. Please tell her to hurry back and clean it up.
She came all the way just to tell me that. Apparently, Wayne had been making a huge mess, and every time she went there, she had to spend a lot of time cleaning. So she needed me to come back and take over the responsibilities. She completely disregarded the fact that I was pregnant. I was flabbergasted. Then my mom made a surprising statement.
"She passed away yesterday."
What? What are you talking about?
Miranda was shaken, and I was also stunned by it.
She passed away? Huh?
"I asked her to run an errand on the way back from the doctor, but then she got hit by a car that ran a red light. That's why I can't bring her out, even if you ask."
What?
My mom was totally serious, so Miranda seemed to believe her.
I'm sorry for your loss. I didn't expect to hear this. I said many terrible things to her. I was just thinking about my son, but she must have been hurt. No, I intentionally hurt her. Said horrible things to her. I'm really sorry.
"Ah, I see. Indeed, she was deeply hurt by you and Wayne. That's why she came back to us. If she hadn't returned here, she might not have had an accident."
Yes, that's right. I'm really sorry. I don't know how to apologize enough.
Miranda, overwhelmed with guilt, covered her face with both hands.
"Have you realized how badly you've hurt my daughter?"
Yes, I'm really ashamed.
She kept apologizing, and my mom stopped her.
"Please, forgive me for going a bit too far. Actually, Kat is alive."
Huh?
"But the fact remains that she's deeply hurt and needs to rest. Only after hearing that she passed away did you finally admit your fault. If we had talked assuming she was alive from the beginning, it wouldn't have turned out this way. I apologize for my rough action."
Miranda had a complex expression, but didn't blame her.
It's because I pampered my son too much that he turned into an incompetent and irresponsible man. I'm really sorry for causing trouble.
Miranda seemed to have truly reflected on her actions, but that didn't erase what had happened before. Afterward, I told Wayne that I wanted a divorce. He initially protested, saying that it was out of the question. But after my in-laws persuaded him, he reluctantly agreed. Subsequently, they came to apologize to me. They promised to re-educate him and assured me they'd ensure he paid child support on time. Currently, he's under strict discipline at his parents' house. They seem to be instructing him on how to take care of himself and cook. Despite complaining, he's in a situation where he has no choice but to do the chores, albeit clumsily. Occasionally, my in-laws get to see their grandson. As for Wayne, I plan to decide whether to involve him in the child's life based on my in-laws' assessment of his maturity. Meanwhile, I've started working again and getting support from my family and raising my son. I'm working hard to earn enough for his future education and to allow him to pursue his interests.